Hi, and welcome to today's podcast. Today's podcast is about 7 things you can do to create happiness during the toughest times. And I would say this is a tough time with everything coming at us, people telling us there's inflation, there's not inflation. Companies are laying off. I mean, Peloton just closed a number of stores, laid off 18 people. So what's going on and how can we find happiness during this time? So my name's Betty Novak and I'm with Life Path Associates and I'm an executive coach.
My name's Michelle Teague. I am with A Teague of Your Own, and I am also a coach, a speaker, and a trainer. Welcome, everyone.
Great. So where should we start?
Oh my, there's so much to start with, Betty.
Oh, I know.
I guess part of it is when it comes to happiness is one of those topics that it applies to all different areas of life. Because some people may be looking at this and saying, "Oh, why are you talking about happiness? What does that have to do with my professional life? Or what does that have to do with my workplace?" Betty, you and I both know that happiness is a huge key to morale. It's also a key to keeping and finding good employees.
Yes. In fact, one of the things that came up as a result of the Great Resignation, the feedback, the not returning to the work, people were looking for a different culture.
Yes.
They wanted a culture that was flexible, but they wanted a culture that understood and respected them. And those are things that make people happy to come to work. I always said, if you're not joyful, a friend of mine told me this, if you're not joyful getting out of bed, don't get out. No, is that, you should be joyful getting out of bed and going to work. And I've had a number of those jobs, and then I've had some that it was a job, as opposed to a career. So yeah, happiness is very important to our balance and our being able to actually perform at work or giving a great presentation or response when we are looking for a job and then interviewing for that job.
I agree. And when it comes to finding happiness, it really doesn't take a whole lot to make that change within us, as far as going from that point in our life where we're angry or sad or fearful or frustrated or depressed. When it comes to making that switch, there are actually some things we can do. Some of them physical, some of them mental, but there are some things that we can do to create happiness in our lives. Something as simple as going for a walk can actually create some happiness. And part of it is because when you're out and you're exercising, the endorphins are starting to run through your body, and that makes people happy. But the other thing is when you get to go outside and appreciate nature, that can truly make people happy.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. If it's a sunny day and it's a clear air, hopefully, and you're breathing it in and you're seeing people enjoying life, sit on a bench and watch them, because that happiness, everybody can feel happiness and it's contagious.
Yes.
A lot of the times.
Yes.
But the other thing is, it's important to find a direction.
Yes.
Where are you going? Well, in your walk, where are you going? When I worked in DC, I would go over to the Smithsonian, the Air and Space Museum, because it was so interesting, and I got away from the Department of Education. But finding a direction is important, because you have a North Star. Yes. To be able to go towards, and that you can do it in life. You can do it in a career change. You can do it in a job search. You can do it just every day, and when you get into the office or work, or you get into your home office, and say, okay, what's my North Star today? What direction, what goals am I going to achieve? And then that sort of centers you.
And along with that, you're also looking for a distraction. Like you said, when you were in DC, you would often go for a walk over to the Air and Space Museum because it was so different from what you had there at the Department of Education. And that caused your mind to make that shift. And it distracted your mind from actually focusing on things that weren't making you happy onto something that would make you happy.
And sometimes you find clarity while you're out there, because if a problem is really giving you stress, which is related to happiness or unhappiness, then all of a sudden you get a clear idea. Yes. And then, like you say, the endorphins start happening because, oh, wow, I have found the answer to the problem or what my next step is. And then you go back in and sit at the desk or go talk to your team, and there you are on a better track.
Well, and a lot of times when people are stuck, either they're stuck at in a job, or they're stuck in a problem or in a challenge. When you A, go out for a walk and move around, or B, focus on something different and get distracted from that particular challenge, it gets your mind going. It gets you thinking about other things. And as a result, the answer that you're looking for will come to you, because your mind has an opportunity to wander and to think about something else. And that's when you'll have other thoughts coming in to help find the pieces of the puzzle that were missing before.
Yeah, and we're talking about a walk. If at home you go into another room and sit down and do something, so it's sort of like it's not a walk, but it's like putting your focus into something else. I used to have a really favorite chair in a house I lived in, and it was an open window, and so I would go there. It was like, everything sort of faded away, and I would read or listen to music for a few minutes. But when you're at work at a building, it behooves you to like try to walk around the building. Now, federal agencies, they're big. They could be a whole block or two. So, you're going to be walking. But if you're in a smaller building, like I was in my for Popeyes, I just would take the elevator down or do the stairs and, go to the lobby and look out if it was raining and so forth. But I think the other thing, and I found this really true at Popeyes, is what you're eating.
Yes.
That you eat every meal and that you have healthy snacks in between. And that's really hard when you're working downtown or in a job. Might not be so hard. In fact, shouldn't be so hard if you're at home, because you can put snacks in your refrigerator. I mean, the correct foods in your refrigerator and snacks, at your desk. But still keeping in mind that there's certain things that make you less, not happy, but sort of bogs you down, both physically. Your body seems to slow down and your mind gets a little foggy, and therefore, how can you be happy? I mean, how can you be happy that way? But certain foods, and you have to decide what they are, certain foods make you happy.
Oh yeah. Chocolate makes me happy.
Happy, really. But I have to decide which chocolate I'm going to make, because I am heavy. And I said, what chocolate am I going to do? And so I found hot chocolate. Real good. So I found a vegan hot chocolate, and I use it as a dessert or a comfort food if I'm really stressed. So it gives me a little bit of energy. But more you need vegetables and fruits, and everybody knows what they should be eating.
Exactly. So. Yeah. Getting some of those vegetables, or actually more along the lines of fruits, dipping fruits into melted dark chocolate. That way you get a little bit of balance there. You get the dark chocolate, which is actually good for your heart. And you also get the fruit, which is going to be high in fiber. It's going to have a lot of the vitamins and minerals that your body needs. So watching what it is that you eat, like you said, don't skip meals. I think a lot of people who are under pressure and under stress, that's one of the things that they do, is they tend to skip meals, or they're so involved in what's going on, they literally forget that it's time to eat. And your body needs good nourishment to be able to function.
And I would say try to go away from the desk when you're eating, because there's something about digestion and still working while you're eating. It's not a good thing. I mean, I realized because I felt sluggish when I did it. But the other thing is water.
Yes.
Must have water. Must have, I try to drink at least 64 ounces a day because it's good for my kidneys, but really 32 ounces of pure water is really good. So I noticed that a lot of people take water bottles with them since they're easy, and they'll take them with them and they'll be drinking while, they're doing what they need to do. So really hydrate your body, because that will help also with how you feel about yourself.
And getting enough water in your body can fix a lot of issues. Your body is mostly water to begin with, and so when you get dehydrated, parts of your body don't function as well as they do when you are fully hydrated. And drinking a glass of water is not that difficult. I know there are people out there that would rather drink anything other than water. Water is what your body needs, though. A glass of cold water, a little bit of ice in it. Maybe if you want to flavor it with a slice of lemon or some other type of fruit, or even cucumbers. Great way to stay hydrated.
Yep. And it's healthy too, because you've added vitamins and minerals from the vegetables.
Yes.
So when your happiness can be depressed when you are feeling out of control and you feel like you need to fix something, but you're not sure what it is. And so you want to find something that you can correct that you've needed. And it gives you a sense of self-satisfaction. For instance, being able to, I wrote a book on the art of career survival. Believe me, I never thought I would ever write a book in my life. And my parents, if they had been alive, they would have gone, really? I can't believe you did that. But so luckily I had my husband with me, but that was sort of something that made me really happy. And when I look at it and try to, have it on my shelf in the back, I say, oh, I fixed something. I was able to achieve something. And that makes you feel happy, even if you're stressed about other things.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be something on your professional life. It could be something in your home life. You could do something as simple as, fixing something at home. Maybe there's maybe there's a nail from a board that needs to be hammered back in. Maybe you've got, a towel rack that isn't quite right, and you can go in and fix it. But there are a lot of things that you can do around your home that are easy fixes, that once you do that, like you said, you have that sense of accomplishment. All of a sudden you've achieved something, and that helps your mind. It helps you physically to feel like you've done something, and that helps to increase your happiness.
And the other thing that I was introduced to in Pittsburgh was feng shui, which is where your furniture and is placed in a room, what the colors are and everything like that. Our house right now is very small, so I'm not sure we could do as much as I'd like to, but sometimes changing a color from blue to green and so forth, or learning about feng shui and moving something, then it may help with how you feel, your body feels, and then you have openness to be happy.
Well, and there are some colors that when you look at them, they automatically trigger emotions. And there are some colors that are happier than others. And one of the things you need to look at in your environment is what colors are surrounding me. What type, when I'm looking in my environment, every day, do I have these darker colors that are going to be more depressing and bring my mood down? Or do I have colors that are going to be more lighter, uplifting, make me actually happy when I look at them? So take a look at the room that you're in. Take a look at even just the curtains that you have hanging up there. Depending on what colors they are, those colors can indeed have an impact on your happiness and on your mood.
Yeah, I miss the beach and being around the lake. And so, and we have some here, but my husband's doesn't like the water that much. But we have like a turquoise blue curtains in our office. And you made me think, because my favorite picture is me sitting in front of a picture that shows me lounging, and there's a nice picture of like the ocean in the Caribbean, because I liked going there. So those are things that you can do for yourself, is look at a picture, make a collage, a vision board of what your life would be like, how you want your life to be, and put things on there. I would put on a copy of that picture because it really makes me feel calm and happy.
Yes.
Yeah, the other thing though is something that I have trouble with, and a lot of people I think do, is sleep. When should you go to sleep? How does your body act when it needs to go to sleep? So, and is the environment conducive, or sometimes do you have to take a relaxing pill? I try to drink chamomile tea before I go to bed because that's supposed to be good. And I have a natural other thing that I use, but a lot of people are not getting enough sleep. And so it's wearing on them. And if you feel tired, there's no place for being happy, because you're feeling very negative about yourself because your body's tired.
Yes. And A, you're right. You can't be happy if you're tired. And B, when it comes to being tired, that has an effect on other areas of our life. It's hard to be productive. It's hard to be efficient. It's hard to be effective when you're tired. It's hard to make good choices when your mind isn't and your brain isn't functioning at full capacity because you are so tired. And if you are somebody who doesn't get enough rest and you're not getting enough sleep, at some point in time, your body's going to tell you enough. It's going to,
you almost feel sick.
Yeah, you're going to have to stop. You're going to have to slow down. You're going to have to get sleep that your body requires, because our bodies were not made to function with very little to no sleep. Our bodies were made to function with about 6 to 8 hours of sleep a night. And it needs to be true sleep. It can't be, just a little bit here and a little bit there and with constant interruptions. You need to get a full night's sleep. And when you do, when you wake up after a full night's sleep, you'll notice the difference.
And if you're you've had not enough sleep over a period of time, you're not going to feel better with one sleep. So the thing is to find a time that will allow you to have 7 hours, 6 to 7 hours sleep. They'd rather you have 8, but I think 6 to 7 hours of sleep. And that for us, my husband wants to put a TV in the bedroom. I said, not going to happen. Even I try not to read my iPad or my iPhone, which is hard, before I go to bed. But you have to have a mental set of, I need to go to bed.
And when you think about it, I know when my children were babies, you have to get them programmed as to when they're going to go to sleep and what they're going to do when they do go to sleep. And so you start rituals, you start creating habits for them when they're young, so they know, I take a bath, mom or dad reads me a story, they put me in a bed, and I go to sleep. And as adults, we have to do the same thing. We have to let our body know it's time to start winding down. If you're watching TV or you're on your phone or you're on your computer right up until the minute when you go to bed, your body doesn't know that it's time to go to sleep. You need to start creating those habits of, like you said, having a cup of chamomile tea, taking a hot shower or hot bath, turning off the electronics, because the blue light from that, it engages the mind and our mind doesn't shut down. And one of the reasons why people have such a hard time falling asleep is because of all the electronics that they're used to being around, and they're not shutting them off with enough time for the mind to wind down. So create those habits leading up to your sleep time, and it'll make it a little bit easier for you to actually fall asleep.
Well, since I like to read, I've started acquiring books with, since I'm older, with a large print.
Mhm.
And so reading a book before you go to sleep is not bad. But like Michelle said, electrical device like an iPad, an iPhone has the blue light, and it's hard to get yourself settled so you're down, can get to sleep. I mean, a real sleep. We're not talking about I'm asleep, but a real deep sleep where your body is able to reconstruct it, so to speak. But so the other thing that needs to happen is, now that it's post-pandemic time, and the CDC has said we can get together now without masks. You know, I wear a mask on occasion if I don't know the group, but if they're friends, you know, you can see them, and it's really, we all found that it wasn't, I don't know, it didn't make me happy to be isolated, even though I was with my husband. But, how do you reach out to people? How do you talk to your friends? So there's something about being in the same room, being in the yard, and having activities with each other and having conversations. The energy that goes between people is another thing, and creates happiness or a feeling of, this is really great.
Yeah. Isolation is one of the biggest causes of depression. And if you are physically isolated or you're mentally isolated from your family or from your friends, you're going to be depressed. And there will be physical issues too when it comes to depression. Being around people that you enjoy being with, hanging out with your friends, hanging out with family members, hanging out with coworkers after work, or going bowling with them, or doing something fun during the middle of the day. That can give you a huge jump in your happiness quotient, if you will, because anytime that you hang out with people that you enjoy being around, those endorphins are going to be running around in your body because they're going to help make you happy. And one of the other things about being around people is they make you laugh. And it's hard to be unhappy. It's hard to be depressed if you're laughing a whole bunch, because the laughter will increase the chemicals that the endorphins make. And it will literally lift your mood and lift your spirit and make you feel so much better.
Yep, that's very true. If you can't see people one-on-one, thank goodness for video conferencing, and you can, if somebody's on the road but you want to see them, you can have a conference with them. Or if you're trying to talk to all your cousins and aunts and uncles that you haven't seen for a while, and really during the COVID time, it was like, I don't want to see anybody, I'm don't really, not out there. So now you could do that too, but really going out personally is important. And then, doing something that you have been wanting to do or that you used to do is really important. Get back into the groove. It may have changed some because of you may be reflected and rethought about your life and found some other things that you wanted to do, and you gave up the things that were pre-COVID that really you don't want to do. So looking at new things, doing new things is really something that will help raise your feeling of yourself and the happiness of it.
I agree. You have to take some type of action. One of the things that causes depression and causes unhappiness is sitting at home doing nothing. If you don't take some type of action, if you don't get up and literally move, it's going to cause that unhappiness in your life. So the more you can get out and do something, and it doesn't necessarily have to be big somethings, it can be little somethings. Like we said before, just go for a walk,
Yeah.
but you need to do something. You need to act, and you need to get some movement going on in your life. That will give you something to look forward to. And a lot of times that's what you need for happiness, is you need something to look forward to. You need something to help shift that thinking that you have, to help you change the focus. And by acting and doing something, that's what you can do.
You know, when I was younger, another thing that helped me, and I can't do it now because it's not something I want to do and really should do, is that I joined a club, a fitness club, and I was young and it was great, and I could work out after work on my way home, and I got to know people, and it was really nice because sometimes in the jobs I was in, didn't have many friends because I was on the road, but this was really nice to go to one place, work out. Again, those endorphins were and the burning of the muscles, so that you knew you were getting some exercise, but also talking to people that were there and doing the same thing. You know, that's a good, that could make you feel better.
Well, joining any type of club or organization, I mean, think about the thousands and thousands of organizations that are out there.
Yeah.
You've got all types of community-based organizations like Rotary clubs and Lion clubs and organizations like that. You've got networking groups that are out there. You've got professional groups that are out there. So there are all types of organizations. There are synagogues and churches that are out there that will have different types of groups and clubs for people to join. So there is an organization out there for everyone, if not several, for you to join. And it's a great way to expand your circle of friends. And it's a great way to get out and about and do something. And with a lot of them, they do stuff in the community itself to help make the community a better place. And who wouldn't want to do that? So get out there, get involved, do something, and it will help increase your level of happiness.
Yep, that's true. But think of this: happiness can't be forced. You can't say, I want to be happy today, but gradually you can do things that will create the environment that you'll be able to be happy. One of the things and I'm trying to do this, is do yoga, because it calms your body, it calms your mind, and it really sort of sends out vibes that will create a calming effect. But a lot of people who use yoga, it's really very effective for that. Breathing exercises. I mean, I have a iWatch, and it tells me when to breathe, to stop and breathe for a minute, and then I have air in my lungs and it's going to the rest of my body and I'm feeling lighter. Mm-hmm. So especially for those of us who own a business and we are the only ones that really work that business, we may have a team, but it's our business. And so we have to really think about how we can, how do I say this? How we can really give ourselves energy and renew ourselves so that we aren't so focused on the business that we lose all ideas of what's going on in the rest of the world and in our family and friends. So a business is good. It can make you happy if it's successful, but it also can keep you isolated if you're not careful.
Yeah, there's more to life than just the business that you run. There's more to life than just what you're doing for your career and for your occupation. And that's what happiness is about. Happiness is about expanding yourself and expanding your awareness of what's going on in the world. And when you see so much other things going on out there, it can lead to happiness because you've become aware of what else is out there and you've become aware of the possibilities. And that's the cool thing about happiness. You're right. You can't wake up and you say, I'm going to be happy today, but you can take steps to incorporate things that will increase your happiness. And the one thing that when I'm working with my coaching clients, the one thing that I have them do is I have them create a gratitude journal about what they're grateful for.
Mhm.
And it's not just, what other people are doing for them, but it's what they're doing for other people and what they're doing for themselves. And what is it that they're truly grateful for? Because that can help to increase your happiness. When you know that you're grateful for something, you're going to end up being happy about it.
Yep, that's exactly right. A gratitude journal is a really good idea. So happiness is a good thing to have, especially during tough times, because it'll help you get through that tough time. And we've been through a tough time, and we deserve to find some happiness during this time. So we hope you have enjoyed this small look into happiness and got some ideas from it. So if I can find it, I have an ebook that might be helpful for you, and maybe even a journal. I'll go look, and it's around happiness and gratitude, and you may be able to use it. We'll put it on a Coffee with Two Coaches Facebook so you can enjoy it. So what are we doing next time, Michelle?
I think we're going to be talking a little bit about communication skills.
Yep.
Because right now, I don't know about you, Betty, but I've got several clients who have contacted me and they're having some communication issues. And I think this is a really hot button issue out there, especially in the workplace, is people being able to communicate with each other.
Yeah, a lot of times when I'm like in the second hour of working with a client of the contract, it's sort of like, wait a minute, something's out of sync here.
Mm-hmm.
And so we start talking about what's going on and how are they approaching things. And you're right, it's about communication. And there are different ways to approach communication. It's not just having a conversation. And so we can introduce you to some of those things over the next two podcasts, because there'll be a part 1 and a part 2. So,
all right.
Well, we look forward to you listening into our podcast, and thank you very much for listening to them.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Have a great day.